Good evening, I'm Grihatul. In the aftermath of the Bahraich riots, the Uttar Pradesh authorities had planned the razing of properties of the main accused that go by the name Hamid, Sarfaraz and Talib. These properties were located in the Maharajganj area. This action, remember, follows a recent communal flare-up in the area that started on the 13th of October, during which a 22-year-old man was shot dead, triggering heightened tensions in the district. The PWD had served the notices to 23 establishments, 20 of which belonged to Muslim shopkeepers, on October 17th, asking them to vacate the properties due to illegal construction. 3 persons allegedly linked to the violence in Bahraich have approached the Supreme Court seeking urgent relief against the demolition action. Now, the Lucknow bench of the Allahabad High Court has also put a stay on this impending bulldozer action until the next date of hearing. Now, bulldozer justice, a term that denotes the controversial act of demolishing people's properties, has been rendered legitimate under the Yogi Adityanath-led Uttar Pradesh administration. It has helped Yogi Adityanath build a political brand and an image of a tough-on-crime chief minister, especially in a state where rule of law was seen as slack, even at the cost of being branded vindictive towards citizens. In his first term, the Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister filed cases against 15,000 people under the Uttar Pradesh Gangster and Anti-Social Activities Prevention Act and demolished the quote-unquote illegally constructed houses of several accused. Dishing out instant justice thus became a template for other BJP-ruled states, including Madhya Pradesh, Assam and Haryana. Even Congress leader Ashok Gehlot, who had previously criticized such actions, adopted this approach ahead of the Rajasthan Assembly elections. But even with the Supreme Court talking tough on bulldozer action and planning on framing guidelines on a pan-India basis, all of this has failed to deter the Uttar Pradesh government in making yet another departure from what India's democracy really stands for. Because these non-democratic practices certainly do not make a democracy, do they? The real question is whether both physically and metaphorically the mode of bulldozer governance is upon us. Do we, the citizens, have any agency left to mull over this form of government and what it represents?
You can see the visuals over here that the boys of these family members are breaking the front part of their house by their own.
लोग जेलों में बंद हैं, दस्तावेज प्रस्तुत नहीं कर पा रहे हैं. अगर आप उनको अपना अवसर नहीं देंगे तो इसका मतलब आप गैरकानूनी तरीके से जबरदस्ती गलत भवन गिरा देना चाहते हैं.
कुछ तथ्यों को ये छिपा रहे हैं और ये निष्पक्ष या सही ढंग से जांच नहीं कराना चाहते.
अगर वो अतिक्रमण था तो घटना के बाद वो अतिक्रमण आपको दिखाई दे रहा है, उसके पहले अतिक्रमण नहीं दिखाई दिया. इसका मतलब कि संदेह है. माननीय सर्वोच्च न्यायालय को इसको स्वतः संज्ञान लेना चाहिए और निश्चित तौर से उत्तर प्रदेश सरकार पर कार्रवाई करनी चाहिए.
Joining me tonight is Anila Singh of the Bharatiya Janata Party, Tariq Khan of the Samajwadi Party and Arvind Kumar Jain, former DGP of Uttar Pradesh. Anila Singh, I'd begin with the lady first. Ms. Singh, first of all, I would like to understand that there was an observation that had come out of the apex court of the country which underlined how any kind of bulldozer action or an act of demolition cannot be a punitive action against any crime that has been committed or the criminals, alleged criminals in this particular case. Why then is the Uttar Pradesh government under Yogi Adityanath going ahead and, resorting to such actions despite that observation by the court?
My Ram Ram to all and happy Karwa Chauth to all your viewers. So, coming to your question that why Yogi Adityanath ji's government is taking bulldozer action. They are doing very rightly. Whatever they are doing in the limits of legality. So, any department who takes bulldozer action, that department knows it very well. And if I talk about this particular incident, where whole of the opposition is standing against Hindus, and asking that why bulldozer action has been taken in Bahraich, I have to tell them that almost a year before, notices were sent. And the demolition or the bulldozer action will not only be only on Muslim community, but there are Hindu houses as well. So bulldozer doesn't see that who is Hindu, who is Muslim, who is Dalit, who is Pichda, who is Savarn, nothing doing. When somebody does wrong, then they have to face the consequences. So here if somebody says that bulldozer action happens if somebody gets accused in some particular crime, then only bulldozer action happens. No, of course not. I can quote you so many examples during the tenure of Samajwadi Party and the BSP, when bulldozer action or the anti-encroachment drive used to keep happening because it is a normal procedure. But somehow they want to target
Is it
Yogi
really?
because
Is it
he's a
really,
borderline
Anila
chief
Singh? I
minister.
really want to understand. You've spoken about how there were notices sent out by the PWD a year back. What we do know is that the notices were only sent out on October 17th this year. This after the October 13th violence that really took place. Why is it that there is a violence, there is a riot that the Uttar Pradesh administration really needs for them to wake up to certain illegalities when it is about properties of the accused? Why does it
No,
happen?
it is not like that. It is not like that here. The thing is, the action keeps on happening. The reality is when some major incident happens, and at that time media sees, okay, bulldozer action or anti-encroachment drive is happening in this area or on this particular house. But otherwise, if we talk about anti-encroachment drives, they keep happening throughout the year, every day. So it is nothing new. The only thing is when something comes under the media light, then it is highlighted. Otherwise, it is a routine procedure for any government, for departments who are responsible to get them corrected.
Okay.
And the
Okay,
thing is that-
I'll come to this point that you're making, and I'll also, in fact, question the Samajwadi Party spokesperson on the claim that you are making, Ms. Singh, that there were notices that were sent by the PWD department a year back. Speaking about how there were certain families or certain encroachments where these properties, and we are talking about 23 properties which have gone ahead and encroached upon the land as per the land control rules governed by the Uttar Pradesh government 1964. Now, Tariq Khan, would you in fact throw light on these claims that have been made by the Bharatiya Janata Party? Notices were sent a year back. Now the notices have been sent out again on the 17th of October, much after this violence that took place in Bahraich.
There was no notice like that. People who are living there, they are saying that there was no notice like this. Point number one. Point number two, BJP have the tendency to disrespect Supreme Court. Either it was the case of name display, there is disrespect at Supreme Court, and later on said that name display will be implemented in Uttar Pradesh. Now, when Supreme Court already said that there would not be any type of bulldozer action, they keep searching for ways to do so. And now let me explain why they would not able to do these things via PWD encroachment theory. Why? Because the road is near about 700 meter long. Now, what you have done in that particular area where there's accused home is, you have just selected Muslims home, 23 home, in that 20 meter area. So when the lawyers will represent things in the court in front of the judge, that why these 23 peoples have been doing the encroachment, and we have the length of the road which is going inside the town. The length of the road is near about 800 meters to 1 kilometer. So this already said in a louder voice that this activity is a bulldozer activity which is being stayed by the Supreme Court in the previous decision made by Supreme Court. So it is quite evident, and these information is being presented, and I'm quite sure, by the lawyers in the High Court in Lucknow. That's why they have given a stay and asked PW department to show whether this road comes under the section of 60 meter wideness or not. Because according to my knowledge, it's just 28 feet. When they come to know that 28 feet, they are not going to be able to destroy the home of the accused. So they have increased it by their own theory, 60. So because if you breach many of the laws and demolish houses, court will not allow, and court already says that they are about to form the guideline for these type of demolition. So it has been stayed. And let me quote one thing what Supreme Court judge said when he just stopped these type of action by any government in any state. Even if there is one instance of illegal demolition, it is against the ethos of the Constitution.
Okay.
Any
Anila Singh, would you
accused-
like to respond to that? And I also would like to understand that there's one thing to be branded as Bulldozer Baba, but to be working with impunity when it is about certain bulldozer actions and justifying it, is the Uttar Pradesh government really trying to do away, or does it have that kind of cynicism against any kind of accountability? And this despite what has come out of the apex court of the country. And I'd add to that very question, I'd like you to respond to this. This entire land control rules 1964 that is being quoted by the PWT has a lot of accountability of the collector. Why has the collector really not been questioned in this case?
Let me tell you. So if I talk about the PWD, if I talk about the Nagar Nigam, that is town area, or if we talk about any of the development authority. All right, these are the bodies who take bulldozer action against the encroachment or any sort of illegal construction. And if we talk about the collector or the DM, fine. So he is a supreme revenue officer in a district. So if I talk about the development authority, so collector or the DM, he is not responsible for the action. If I talk about the PWD, so...
No, how is
so
he
what
not? The
DM has to do-
collector of the area must deposit plans of controlled areas at their office and other places and make them available to the public for inspection. He's supposed to notify the land.
Allow me.
Yes.
Let me
The
complete.
authority of the
I
DM.
want you to complete that. So the respective departments who take action, they have got a procedure. They have got their seniors. Seniors are intimated. A proper process is followed. But the reality is, in today's date, because of the appeasement politics, the opposition has stooped so low that they do not blink their eye in support of the criminals. If any action is being taken against the criminal because that person has encroached, that person has constructed some illegal building or so, but they are going to support him, they are going to advocate him because they have to take care of their vote bank. So let me tell you, a Bhagwadhari Yogi Adityanath ji, who is the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, who was infested by crime and corruption before 2017, he has promised that he is going to clean this state. And this is what he is doing, and he
Why is
doesn't
the cleaning
care.
up
He
happening
doesn't
only
care
on
what
one
opposition
community?
says.
Why does the same logic not apply to the Bharatiya Janata Party, ma'am? Is what my question is. You're very carefully steered away from the question of whether or not the Yogi Adityanath administration is working with impunity. Let me in fact take out references for certain speeches that have been made by Yogi Adityanath. Mainpuri, he goes ahead and says that election के बाद हम बता देंगे कि इनके घरों पे बुलडोजर चल रहे हैं. That is the kind of impunity that we are talking about. When it is about appeasement policy, why does that same logic not apply to the Bharatiya Janata Party that you're accusing the Samajwadi Party or the Congress Party of?
So I have to reply this?
Yes.
All right. So let me tell you, as I mentioned earlier also, when you had asked me the question, I said that this exercise keeps on happening. Keeps on happening. It is not one day affair.
Okay.
And in that exercise, if a person is from BJP or Samajwadi or SP or RLD or Congress, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If that person has done something wrong, then action will be taken. That person is going to be served notice. If he takes corrective measures, well and good. If that person doesn't take any corrective measures, then he has to face the consequences. Who says that Hindus are not being targeted by so-called bulldozer? They do. Anti-encroachment drive is so far.
Yeah, you have shown
The
the three
reality
houses
is
that
they-
have been
they-
targeted
they
out
are
of the
the people who
23.
do not
But let me
want
bring
the
in
clear
Mr. Arvind
to
Kumar
come
Jain.
up.
He's been very, very patiently listening to both of you make your respective statements when it is about this particular debate. But Mr. Jain, I'd like to understand from you. You have, seen up close and personal the law and order, and how does the state really need to account for the law and order, especially in a state like Uttar Pradesh, where there has been lawlessness and it has been allowed to splurge. And we're not just talking about the BJP government, we're also talking about the erstwhile Samajwadi Party government. what should have been done, or what must have been done by the police in this particular case, where there was a religious procession that was crossing an area which could have in fact created communal tensions, and it did happen. Why was there ample police presence not there in that particular area? Why were there relevant exercises really not put in place, the checks and balances not put in place? Who is to blame here?
That is why the riot took place, and policemen have suffered. Departmental action has been taken against them. Several of them have been punished, placed under suspension. Let me tell you one thing.
Yes.
Number one, Supreme Court has not placed a ban on such illegal constructions which have taken place on government land, notified government land.
Nobody said that, sir. We're just talking about how it has been said in the garb of punitive action against criminals.
Number two, PWD is absolutely free to issue notices if there is widening of the road which is going to take place. They have notified the distance also. And because PWD is the owner, PWD will serve the notice, and assistant engineer has issued the notices. I don't think PWD officers are mad that they will issue illegal notices. And let me tell you one thing. When people encroach, you can see the way encroachments are being removed. Not even a single bulldozer has come till now on the spot. And already 80-90% encroachments have been removed. 100% goods have been removed, because they know it very well that all those constructions were illegal, and they have removed all the goods because they know. And I'm quite happy that High Court has given 7 days or 15 days time. It will give people time, and I don't think there will be any need for any bulldozer action in this case, because already I'm told 80-90% encroachments have been removed. People have put tin sheds.
Yes.
Tin sheds which are 18 to 20 feet long.
Yeah, those are the sheds that have been removed majorly. And in fact, you preempted that very question that I was coming to, Mr. Jain. I'd like to understand, if at all this was a completely legal action or completely legal exercise by the PWD, why at all has there been a stay by the Lucknow bench of the Allahabad High Court in this matter? Why have they given that 15 days time to the people who are alleged encroachers in this particular case, and also the time to the Uttar Pradesh government to in fact justify the action by the PWD?
Let me tell you one thing. 3 days notice was given. So if High Court has given another 7 days or 15 days, there is absolutely no harm in it. And let me tell you, before the period expires of 15 days, all the encroachments will be removed. Not even a single bulldozer will be required here. And that means a lot, regarding the credibility of the government. Okay. They know that encroachment is there. And when these places, they become very constructed, so many encroachments take place, then there is generally a tendency of stone pelting. And when the roads are broad, when they are open 60 meters, there will not be any such law and order problem. So I am told that Maharajganj, Sitapur widening has been sanctioned, and it is being widened, and it will take place. Widening will take place in the next few days. And I think the road will look much better, traffic will be much smoother, and people will keep on raising fingers why encroachment was removed. But
Mr. Jain, that's a fair point that you make. In fact, I'd let Mr. Tariq Khan respond to that very point. Mr. Khan, I'll come to you, Anila Singh. Mr. Khan, I'd like to really understand from your party, which was in power in the state of Uttar Pradesh, and because of which there is a great amount of festering of these criminals that has happened, that has led to the BJP government now in the state to go ahead with certain bulldozer actions. At least that is the justification that is coming in from the Bharatiya Janata Party. How at all have these criminals being allowed to splurge at the Samajwadi Party's cost? In fact, they had relevant sort of heft in the Samajwadi Party, and we know about the political affiliation of many of these gangsters, two of them who have been gunned down by the Yogi Adityanath administration in the past.
You know what is the hypocrisy of BJP? When Abhay Singh, people like Abhay Singh was in our party, he was a criminal. And when he joins BJP or says that we'll vote for BJP in MP election, he'll become a clean chit bearer man. So this is the hypocrisy. You ask DGP Saab, what has done? Abhay Singh, Dhananjay Singh, everybody. His wife joins BJP. Now he's a good man. It's all right. Let me say something. According to Section 13(2) of Roadside Land Control Act, Section 13(2) says that the authority to give notice is beared by district magistrate, not by the PWD. These are the flaws made by the state government to demolish the accused house. That's why it has been stayed in High Court. Why? Because there has been 5 to 6 very evident, which you can understand very easily, flaws in these demolition. This is one of them. Okay. You cannot give notice.
Whether
the
or
notice
not the loopholes by the PWD are being taken as an advantage by the Bharatiya Janata Party, I'd like Ms. Anila Singh to respond to that. But you have still not answered my question, Mr. Tariq Khan. I asked you how at all gangsters like Atiq and Ashraf Ahmed were allowed to, in fact, go ahead and splurge under the Samajwadi Party government, have properties which eventually were demolished under the Yogi Adityanath administration. If at all that illegal piece of land was not part of Atiq and Ashraf Ahmed, then the demolition would never have happened. And this entire bulldozer justice or whatever this term is would not really have garnered this kind of significance under Yogi Adityanath. So isn't the Samajwadi Party to blame as well?
You know what is ironically irrational happening in this scenario of Bahraich. I belongs to Bahraich. I live in Bahraich. What that guy who died, his wife is saying that police and Yogi ji is not giving his justice by not killing those accused. Now Yogi ji will give justice by killing them. No, there is no fault of that girl, that widow. That thing has been pushed in the minds of the people that don't believe in court, don't believe in construction. Me, Yogi Adityanath, will give justice. DM and SP will give justice. What the thing? Which type of democracy? Which type of constitution?
I already questioned the Bharatiya Janata Party spokesperson on exactly this point, on whether or not there is a cynicism on any form of accountability. You are repeating that point and you have very well skirted the question that I'm again asking you. Under the Samajwadi Party government, there were gangsters like Atiq and Ashraf that in fact splurged. How do you think the BJP government, if they are accusing the Samajwadi Party government of exactly that, they are not justified in that?
Listen, they were in jail at that time. We are not saying that law and order situation was very good at our time, or neither it's good at this time.
We're talking about the properties that they have been allowed to have and they were allowed to keep. Illegal, many of them, and that eventually was demolished by the Yogi Adityanath government. In fact, Anila Singh, right. there was a point that Tariq Khan was making on certain loopholes that the Bharatiya Janata Party administration under Yogi Adityanath is trying to use to its advantage. Your response to that?
There are absolutely no loopholes, according to the best of my knowledge. What he doesn't have proper knowledge that how the police administration works. Just now he quoted some clause, all right, for the expansion of the road. Let me tell him, whenever a road expansion is there, encroachment is there, then that particular department who has to get the encroachment clear, that that department comes in touch of police administration, because they have to take the help of police administration. And at that time, district magistrate or the police commissioner or the SP, whoever is there in that district, they provide him forces so that action can be taken properly. So this much of indulgence of police administration is there in such type of action. So little knowledge is dangerous thing. And secondly, I just want to mention here, because they are very expert in misquoting things. They want to just show that, oh, this is the clause. In actuality, things are very, very different. Okay. Because Yogi Adityanath ji and his government and the Sarkari departments under him, they all work under the legality. No illegal action. Because we know the whole of the world and political parties like Samajwadi or the Congress or the BSP, allow me, they are after this Bhagwadhari Yogi Adityanath ji, who is the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh. And finally, I just want to say one thing here.
10
because
seconds more,
spokesperson, just 5 seconds. the spokesperson of a political party who is deep into appeasement, who has been continuously.
Okay, you're going back to the same point and not answering the questions. But we have to, in fact, look at one important aspect which has been underlined by the Supreme Court. Ma'am, I am really short on time. It has been underlined by the Supreme Court that no punitive action in the form of taking any sort of a property down of an accused can be, in fact, considered legitimate. It is not part of Indian law. And that is something that has come out of the Supreme Court, and that is something that we need to look at even as we take a look at these bulldozer actions that are coming out of BJP ruled states like Uttar Pradesh in this case after the Bahraich violence that took place. I'll have to leave it at that. I'd like to thank all my guests for joining me on the broadcast this evening.